I'm dealing with a criminally insane media machine built by the music industry. I realize that the um, studied, talent, eccentric science and um, authoritarian magnitude of the postures behind the behemoth that singularly obsesses on me is well beyond my grasp as a holder of a 2-year associate degree at a community college. And they know that too, but they pretend that they don't. And they try to nail me on things that they deny they're trying to nail me on. They invested in genocide to make money off of John Lennon. And that's how they operate. I'll go back in time to show you an example of what they're digging for. When I lay on my couch on 1228 Winter Street, I was 12 or 13 years old, and I got a letter from Gail Burstyn from Israel. After Ian Watmaker and his brother had played in the court of the Crimson King for me, they were going into neurosurgery. My father was an Attica State Prison psychiatrist. And they had shown me pictures of Yad Vashem, a Holocaust memorial in Israel. And I had danced the hora and known Jews all my life. There were Jews in my family. So I understood the pity and macabre of World War II and Adolf Hitler's army, that it was visited on the Jews. And she had misspelled the word decide into deicide. And she said millions decide, deicide, millions deicide, and I was startled. But I had no grammatical skills I didn't understand what a metaphor was at that age. I didn't know how to identify the idea that a terrorist letter bomb threat was being sent to me by a 12-year-old girl. She was a friend of a local magistrate. And of course, they would have denied, just as they deny now, that had any meaning of that sort. But what I was inclined to believe, I remember the moment when I processed that calculation. Oh, she's making, if I knew the word illusion, I might have thought she's making a pun. If I had known the word pun, I might have thought she's referring to the millions of Jews who died. And she was spelling out all of these silly little word games that coded into I love you, I love you, I love you. And they claimed that I was schizophrenic when I finally decided that this was a serious reference to intended murder. And what the crowd who were adopted to sell McCartney's and Ono's claims, Pink Floyd's claims, that just war theory allows them to blame me, was the idea that it was just war theory, that it was just war, that AIDS was just war. And they would use just war theory of AIDS through Brian Eno's machine to torture me. And these are people who in media would be just perfectly happy to have the deaf Parkinsonian wreckage of terror campaigns without number from these British savants, walking around in chains while Ringo Starr smokes a cigar and whips him. He would be perfectly happy to see that happen. They're all Trumpy Tunes cowboys. And this is the reality of the situation. They don't recognize things like public sidewalks. They claim they do, but they don't. They turn buses into theater, literally. They poach sexually. And my basic difference with them was not only justifying AIDS as they do, but denying that AIDS was an attack. They deny there was an attack and justify it and seek to reward themselves thereby. And they don't believe in an innocent person. They believe that everybody is a thing that can be used by the world's military machines. They contracted sex on me and held me hostage in bondage to it, and they wrote working papers for the girls who were taking custody of me for the pleasure of a pornographic genocide operation. And they are the ones who wrote the letters. Make no mistake. Gail Burstyn's likeness appears on a rock album from 1979 made by John Lennon and his friends. All of the evidence shows that John Lennon was part of the operation in Puerto Houdini. Clint Eastwood, who's been a master of ceremonies trying to extort apologies to Yoko Ono from me as a representative of the Navy, which our administrations have been happy to stand back and allow him to do, called Where Eagles Dare, Where Doubles Dare. They're using double fantasy as a double operation in media combine and threatening World War III if we don't accept it. And this is evidently the nuclear vulture of the index meaning of choosing someone named Trump as their leader. And it's weird mysticism to bring the end of the world to a truce about show business's unparalleled gall. They've used Gaza as a metaphor for Mike Johnson's ideas that abortion is a Holocaust. They've used Greta Thunberg, who they pulled out of the magician's hat like a rabbit, as a sandbagger's acolyte, representing climate change as the resolution. I don't think you should blame Greta Thunberg for all of that, unless she's actively justifying what they did to me. If they're saying the Mount Desert Island was justified still, they're chickenly sideways talk, because they'll never address the evidence or admit, for example, the Motorola element that the winemakers inserted in the nerve agent that they force-fed me as a traumatized child. Pittsburgh is a place that basically goes to the bathroom on your face and then says you're dirty. That's what sort of people they are. And you're supposed to be honored that their doofus, Starkey, wants to drag you around in chains and whip you and humiliate you. If you have some paramystical bent when it comes to couples dating out of wedlock, well, out with it. These freak shows from Mick Jagger's hyena clan want to destroy the earth to get ahead. They think they'll be the last ones to dance on it. And they'll see Shiva cometh. If you think this mystical jive is sacred, why don't you just say something about it? Come out in Congress and say, we have mystical jive that's sacred. We want to introduce to you our chickenly sideways talk from Britain, Owen Jones. He's going to justify the whole cotton picking thing. And he'll be cheered. He'll be joined by the tribe. Yes, The tribe will join him. They'll second that. AIDS was just worth it. And guess who's to blame? The little runny-nosed kid who believed that the adults were telling him the truth. Reagan didn't know. Reagan, he didn't know. He discovered it and thought it was such a great idea that it has to be done. Calling Clint Eastwood. That's how they want their history to play, because that's how. See, that's the problem with American media, is they think they can do that, and then it won't be played that way by the history books.